Okay, so for number 16 of part 2, it says, what is the solution to the system of equations shown below? So it shows you the equations, and then it shows you your answer choices, which is A, 0, 4, 4, B, 1, 4, and 10 over 3, C, no solution, and D, infinitely many solutions. So, is how you solve number 16 is you would do your first equation, and then you would do the second equation, but you would put a 3 on the outside, and then, put parentheses, and you would rewrite it right here, and then you would combine the two, because you did the parentheses, so it would then be this, and you would combine these two, which would then get you 5x minus 19y equals 8, because these cancel out, because there's a plus and a minus of the same one. And so that gets you 5x minus 19y equals 8. And then you go over here. And then you get this one. These two, which is in your system of equations is the last two. So you get the last two. And then you go right here. And you combine those, which gets you negative 15x plus 57y equals 24. And then you have 36x minus 19y equals 8. And then you combine it with what you just got, which is negative 15x plus 57y equals 24. And you get this answer right here, which is false, which ultimately means that there's no solution to this system of equations. So your answer for number 16 should be C, no solution. Okay, so for number 17 of part 2, it says, for a wedding, Sharita bought several dozen roses and several dozen carnations. The roses cost $15 per dozen, and the carnations cost $8 per dozen. Sharita bought a total of 17 dozen flowers and paid a total of 192. How many roses did she buy? So your choices are 6 dozen roses, B, 7 dozen roses, C, 8 dozen roses, and D, 9 dozen roses. So is how you solve number 17 is how I solved it. I'm sure there's many ways to solve this, but you would put how much your roses cost a dozen, how much your carnations cost a dozen, and then the total she spent on both. So it's $15 a dozen for roses, $8 a dozen for carnations, and she spent $192 for both altogether. So you would do $15 times 9. That was my first choice, 9 roses, which puts you at $135. And then you would do $8 for carnations times 7 dozen carnations, which gives you 56, and that actually, when you add it up, gives you 191. So you're off $1, but it is the closest answer in terms of dozen. And so your answer would then be D, 9 dozen. Okay, so for number 18, it says the total area of a rectangle is 4x to the 4th minus 9y squared. Which factors could represent the length times width? So your choices are A, 2x squared minus 3y, and 2x squared plus 3y, or B, 2x squared plus 3y, and 2x squared plus 3y, or C, 2x minus 3y, and 2x minus 3y, and finally, D, 2x plus 3y, 2x minus 3y. So, is how you solve number 18 is basically, you just want to see which one would get you to this, to the one that is the total area of the rectangle. And it looks like A actually gets you to the total area of a rectangle, because it's 2x squared minus 3y and 2x squared plus 3y. And when you distribute, you get 2x squared times 2x squared equals 4x to the 4th. And then you get negative 3x times positive 3y Oh, I'm sorry, it's negative 3y, sorry, times positive 3y, and that actually gives you negative y squared, which when you look back at the original question, it's 4x to the fourth minus 9y squared, and 4x to the fourth minus 9y squared. So your answer would then be A, 2x squared minus 3y, and 2x squared plus 3y. So for number 19, it says which expression is equivalent to 6y squared minus 2 and 6y plus 2. Your choices are A, 36y squared minus 4, B, 36y squared y cubed minus 4, C, 36y squared plus 12y squared plus 12y minus 4, and D, 36y cubed plus 12y squared minus 12y minus 4. So as how you solve number 19 is you basically use the distributive property. So you would use you would rewrite it first, and then you would use the distributive property, and you would do 6y squared and 6y, which would then give you 36y cubed, and then you would do negative 2 and positive 2, which would give you negative 4, and that would leave you with choice B. So your answer for number 19 is B, 36y cubed minus 4. So for problem 20, it says which polynomial represents 3x squared plus x minus 4 and 2x minus 5. So your choices are A, 6x cubed minus 13x squared minus 13x minus 20, B, 6x cubed minus 13x squared minus 13x plus 20, C, 6x squared plus 6x cubed plus 13x squared plus 3x minus 20, or D, 6x cubed plus 13x squared plus 3x plus 20. So as how you solve number 20 is you also use the distributive property. So number 20, you would rewrite your question, and then you would use the distributive property. So you would rewrite it here. So you would put this over here, so rewrite it. And then you would just distribute, and you would get 6x cubed plus 13x squared plus 3x plus 20. And this actually leaves you with D. So number 20, problem 20, your answer is D, 6x cubed plus 13x squared plus 3x plus 20. So for number 21, it says what are the x-intercepts of the graph of y equals 12x squared minus 5x minus 2? And your choices are A, 1 and negative 1 over 6, B, negative 1 and positive 1 over 6, C, 2/3 and negative 1 over 4, and D, negative 2/3 and positive 1 over 4. So your answer is how you solve number 21. You would basically just find the x-intercept, and that would get you with C. And you would have x equals 2/3 and x equals negative 1/4. So your answer for number 21 is C, x equals 2/3 and x equals negative 1 over 4. So for number 22, it says which ordered pair is the vertex of function of x equals x squared plus 6x plus 5. And your choices are A, negative 3 and negative 4, B, negative 2 and negative 3, C, negative 1 and 0, or D, 0 and negative 5. So it's how you solve number 22, and this one was actually the more fun to solve for me personally, is you would put down your function right here, or you would put down the, this is the equation, so it's fx equals ax squared plus bx plus c. And so then you would basically, is how to find the vertex is you would just find h, which to find h, you have to do h equals negative b over 2a. And then you would just plug in your negative b and your a right here. And then you would solve, and that would get you negative 3. So h equals negative 3. And then to find k of the vertex, you would use the form k equals c minus b squared over 4a, and then you would write that as k equals 5 minus 6 squared over 4 times 1, and then k equals negative 4. So hk, or your vertex, equals negative 3, negative 4, which is A. So the answer for number 22 is A, negative 3, negative 4. So number 23 says, how many terms does the binomial expansion of x squared plus 2y cubed to the 20th power contain? So a binomial means 2, and a polynomial is more than 2. So your choices are A, 20, B, 21, C, 40, and D, 60. So is how you would start about finding your answer is you would do the sum of cubes and you would do the sum of cube, which would give you this, and then your answer would actually be A, which is 20. So 23 is A, 20. So 24 says a math teacher is randomly distributing 15 rulers with centimeter labels and 10 rulers without centimeter labels. What is the probability that the first ruler she hands out will have centimeter labels and the second ruler will not have labels? Your choices are A is 1 over 24, B 1/4, C 2/5, and D 2.3 and 2.5. Or I'm sorry, 23 and 25. So is how you would go about solving 24 is you would put how many rulers you have with labels, which you have 15, and how many rulers you have without labels, which is 10, and you would add them together, and you have a total of 25 rulers, and then you would basically just do your normal probability form. So you would get this over event 1 times this over event 2, which would then get you 1/4, which is B. So your answer for number 24 is B, 1/4. Lastly, problem 25 says if fx equals x squared plus 2x plus 1 and gx equals 3x plus 1 squared, which is an equivalent form of fx plus gx? And your choices are A equals x squared plus 4x plus 2, B equals 4x squared plus 2x plus 4, C equals 4x squared plus 8x plus 4, and D equals 10x squared plus 20x plus 10. So how you would go about solving this one is you would just see that it's A, which is A x squared plus 4x plus 2. And as how you would go about solving that is you would just see which two are equivalent to each other, and they would in general get the same answer, etc. So your answer is A, x squared plus 4x plus 2. X squared plus 4x plus 2.